right, we're gonna try that again. Apparently, I crashed myself out and had to restart. So, give me a second here while I check in to see if our signal is up and running. Taking a moment here, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Taking a moment here, mic check, mic check. 1, 2. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna drop that down. Let's see if we can make this happen. That took a little while to chew through, so I've got an hour this morning to play, and I'm going to be back this afternoon to work on Dark Sun subclasses with the Druid Preserver. But for now, we are going to do some Eberron art. So I'm going to grab this link here real quick and do some social media posts real fast, and then we'll be up and running. So click, 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 boom. That's it. We're good to go. Let me drop this out of the way here and rearrange our windows. And for folks that are interested in this stuff, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Here's a bunch of books that we've already created on the DMs Guild previously. You can check those out. If you think they're cool, consider picking them up to help support similar behavior in the future. Boy, what a crash landing of an intro. We made this book cover around episode 40. My game is like way off today. We made this illustration for Atur Academy last month, but this is part of the larger Atur Academy requisitions team, where you're attempting to recover an artifact that was stolen before tragedy befalls the world. So we're going to so it's 3 pages. It explains the plot hook, the story lore that goes along with it, the goals of your adventure, bonus resources that you get. And then on the next page, it goes through the rewards that you get, where you start inside the adventure if you choose this plot hook. And then there's unique encounters that occur throughout the adventure that are altered depending on which plot hook you use. There's the default plot hook, where you're deputized to investigate missing people. There's the Council of 12 conspiracy, where you are attempting to take control of a ritual being performed by necromancers for the gains of the House's secret guild. The second variant plot hook is Atur Academy requisitions, where you're attempting to take the artifact that the necromancers are using to perform their ritual was stolen from Atur Academy. You're attempting to recover it and provide evidence of its stealing. And then there's additional plot hooks that we'll be getting to after this. So I don't feel like working on Professor Carter or the researchers that have gone missing along with the artifact. I don't want to work on that today. I have some additional text space here that I can add in, which we'll get to probably this weekend, and I'll probably set up, I'll figure out what I want to do with Carter here. This is just a bust of Carter, but I want to have like a library and stuff in here to imply that he's in a university. But my brain hasn't quite formulated what that is yet. But what we do have is a starting point here. So the plane shift spell that you are given to teleport into the adventure from Atur Academy, the plane shift spell can deliver the characters within the manifest zone near Part 2, Region C, the Gatehouse, which leads down into the dungeon, if the DM wants to shorten the adventure. Otherwise, the DM can deliver the characters to Part 1, Region B, Carnwood, to add additional time spent approaching the manifest zone. So here's a nice little nook on the page of art, or rather on this page. For those that aren't familiar, this is a 16:9 format. If you're full screen viewing here on YouTube, let's get this down to size. It's still a little bit big. There we go. It will snap to shape when it's actually a PDF, but here on Photoshop I have to manually size it. But this is a 16:9 format. The font size for the body of text, it's 12-point font, so it's pretty easy to read. I imagine if you're looking at your screen right now, you can read it regardless of what kind of device you're on. So 16:9 fits like this. Each column is also 16:9. It's difficult to demonstrate it here because I can't tilt my monitor sidewise to make it work. But once it publishes as a PDF, you can turn it sidewise, vertically aligned, and you'll be able to read one column at a time. So 16 by 9 format. I'm loving this system of layout. I've never done this format before, so it's taken me a lot longer creating this adventure in comparison to the normal letterfold 8.5 by 11s. So this is new type of tech that we're exploring with it. This 3-column format is pretty cool. It's 17 inches wide, 10 inches tall overall. So this is basically a 5. It's like a 4.5 inch by 5.5 inch wide space that we're operating in right here. It has 1/2 inch gutters, and there's 5.5, 11, 16.5. 1/4 inch gutters and 1/4 inch margins, and that fleshes out our 17 inches across. So 1/4 inch top and 3/4 inch bottom. It's a 9 inch space that we have to actually add text and an illustration. So since the starting point here can either be inside the manifest zone itself or in the Carnwood, I'm going to do another Bob Ross painting. So we made this Bob Ross painting of the Carnwood, but I think I want to lean into, I haven't quite figured out if we're doing a manifest zone or if text. Put a lock on that page there. Bounce here. Let's go with zone edge. So for now, we're just gonna do some sketching and ideation right now. I only have an hour this morning because I screwed up my channel launch, so I'm behind schedule. So I'm not even gonna try breaking any records or anything. Just gonna push this over a little bit. We're going to. I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking right now. Hold on. Let's. If I were to do the gatehouse as an illustration, it would roughly look something like this as a silhouette. It'd be something like that. And maybe loose cobblestones, but there's going to be fog everywhere, so this would at best be I don't know if this is going to end up being a good design or not, but this is where we're playing at right now. Is this how I want to do that? Squat that a bit. I'm not sold on this yet. There's a lot of smoke that comes out. All the fog that fills the manifest zone is coming from the dungeon underground. Like the whole area is filled with this putrid fog that's poisonous if you breathe it for too long, and it all billows from underground through this open elevator shaft that's missing its elevator, and it basically fills and pollutes the area, and that's just not striking me. Maybe it's a thing. We could do like I could call that gatehouse but I'm not loving it. I think what I prefer is go with my initial instincts and do something along the edge of the manifest zone, at the edge of the manifest zone where all the smoke is starting to billow forth from. So I'm feeling. I'm just gonna lay down some composition here. I don't have to kill myself on this piece. I always say that I don't have to kill myself on this piece, but I always end up trying to kill myself on these pieces. It's the amount of work I end up wanting to put into each illustration that we do here. It's absolutely slowed publishing of the piece down. But the whole point of me making books in the first place was so that I could be my own art director and create and do illustrations for the books that I think are exciting, instead of doing mercenary work as a freelance illustrator and creating the art that other people want. It's a very global environment now, so it's difficult for someone in the most expensive one of the most expensive cities in the world to compete against people that are not in similar circumstances. Like if I required a fifth of my income to have the same lifestyle as I have roughly, then I could charge, 1/5 the cost for freelancing. I'd probably be able to score gigs, but no, I live in Seattle. So alas, earwax. I need to be in a metro environment because I'm legally blind. I can't drive, so I need mass transportation because Ubering everywhere is ridiculously expensive. So I will just make books and illustrate the books the way that I want to do it, instead of moving to another city, so that I can afford to be an artist. I'll figure it out. I'm not looking for pity or nothing. I'm just explaining the process here. So we're gonna do a wilted, ugly, dead tree because the swamp, the necrotic fog that's filling the manifest zone, it gets pulled by the wind out into what we call plague wind, which rots vegetation. So along the edge of the manifest zone, we're going to see plants that are in the process of rotting away. Earlier in the adventure, we have this illustration in the section that describes the different adventures and encounters that can occur in the forest. So this illustration is further into the forest, actually at the manifest zone. So it's going to be a very, very swamp-like scene is what we're looking for here. So right now I'm placing elements of the composition in to have an aesthetically pleasing overall just so the thing overall looks cool. And we'll add fog effects in and sort of like hinting at little ground masses here and like a fallen log here that's rotting away. The plane of Mabar is the realm of undeath and darkness, so it's got this, from the Magic the Gathering terms, it's got this black-green vibe going to it, where it poisons you if you stay in it. If you're not a native to the plane of Mabar, it's poisonous. It rots vegetation and replaces it with its own unnatural flora. Plant matter type things that are like evil plants, basically. Get rid of that. Fade that down. Fade that down. fade that. Yeah, this will probably be an interesting enough composition to move forward with. So I like the general idea of this. I think this is going to vibe. First thing I want to do is drop in. So this will be our sketch that we'll be able to reference, and then we'll push that up here with references. And so for now, we're going to go with for now, we're just going to establish a background color, which is the smoky, foggy effect of the manifest zone. We're going to ignore the borders of text and push into the space. We'll be able to frame it, block it in to the space, but I don't necessarily want to pay attention or adhere to the, like, I know this is the general shape of the illustration, but I want the borders of the illustration to extend beyond the limits of this. Like, if I make the illustration bigger than the space, then I can trim down the space without it looking like it was, like, if I make the illustration the size of the illustration, then it, like, I won't be thinking so much about things that are like partially on page, that are moving out of view of the camera. And so if I have to make an adjustment or something along the ways, like resize it slightly or nudge it around a little bit, I want to have that extra bandwidth or that extra extension off the sides to be able to compensate for mild resizing or moving it around the piece a little bit. My words are really bad today. I accidentally logged myself out instead of switching to the video to check if we're live. So I had a misfire this morning and had to start over. So there's a mild delay with security input and stuff like that I had to go through, and two-step authorization and getting the stream back up and running again, blah 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 blah. So a little bit of a misclick this morning. So that's the general haze that it obscures vision. At this distance, it obscures vision within 40 feet. It's partially concealed or partially obscured within 20 feet, and then 40 feet is fully obscured. So you only really get about 40 feet worth of visibility once you actually get into the manifest zone, which is great because the undead that roam the manifest zone, they aren't inhibited by the fog at all. It's like fish in water. They don't even see it. But we do. It's an unnatural environment for us and obscures our vision. So undead can see you and run towards you in a necrotic swamp environment, and you can't see them until they're within 40 feet of you. So encounter distances can stay on small maps while you're inside the manifest zone. Makes it easy to compartmentalize what's going on and to isolate characters from each other if they get too far away, and then you can spring traps on them like sinkholes or undead hiding in the muck, or incorporeal creatures that are floating in the mist above you. You might not necessarily see them there. That feels pretty good. We're going to just leave that like that. We'll call this back haze. And then grab reference here. I'm just gonna make these gray. Maybe a little like off gray, like mildly green. Huh. I'm gonna grab that. And let's just start breaking these into layers. Actually, this is gonna do just fine. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I have a lot of faith in our ability to pull it off. Hey, Fox, how you doing? It's good to see you, my man. Yeah, these plot hooks in the appendix, like there's not a lot of space available in the actual text of the adventure, like moving from because it's like all these maps and diagrams that are filling up most of the space during the adventure. It's at the back end here in these appendices that we get to add a lot of flavor. Yeah. So I'm really valuing the time that I'm spending here to do all these alternate flavor, like how to word this, the alternate plot hooks adds depth and story to the adventure without having to eat up space on story and background and narrative inside the adventure. So like the area where we're describing all the encounters and scenes and stuff, that can stay mostly technical information, and visual assets are mostly, like I said, maps and tokens for actually running the game. But all the flavor text and like points of interest and intrigue and stuff happens in these appendices, as each separate plot is describing how its perspective of what's happening inside the adventure, and how different encounters that you've already read about are modified by these different plot hooks. So this is a great place for us to add additional flavor text type, like flavor illustrations, just pure mood and vibe illustrations, which is perfect because of all these little nooks and crannies that we have to fill with little vignette illustrations and stuff. I think the design here is good. It's not cluttering the composition, if that makes any sense. Maybe it does. But right now, it's just doing, I want to free transform, skew, there we go. What's going on? Yeah, sad trees. It's 7th, 8th level characters. 4 8th, 5 7th. The amount of experience in the CR calculator for D&D 5e. The amount of experience to challenge a team, it's almost identical for 4 8th level characters and 5 7th level characters. It's a difference of like 200 experience points budget. So they're incredibly close, and it's high enough. It's a high enough level that you've got some decent resources available to you, but not so high level that you can use high level magic, like 5th level magic shenanigans to shut shit down. Although you could run it if you really want to abuse people. You could run it at 9th level if you stack in a bunch of monsters and shit. And if you wanted to ease up on them, you could do it as low as 6th level, but you got to be careful about the different type of monsters that you have throwing at them. Like if you throw a few whites, like if you got 6th level characters and you throw a mob of like four whites at them, or hit them with what's the word I'm looking for? Not shade, not shadow, specters, and why am I not thinking of the incorporeal undead that drains life? Specters is the weak form of it. Whites are corporeal form. Wraiths. Thank you. Wraiths. My Eberron party is 6 players, level 9 to 10, so I could flex that easy. I was thinking of using this adventure to start a new season of Eberron. Holy shit. That's awesome. Keep me updated on your timelines. Being kind of picky about this. I'm figuring out the, like, I can imagine what the swamp would feel like, but actually creating the trees to have the proper vibe, like not too many branches because they're gonna rot away, but I want to have at least some branches so that it still feels like a tree. You know, I'm in that compositional space of figuring out exactly how is this supposed to look. Yeah, that feels okay. I can live with that tree. I can let that tree die, as it were. So then let's push back here. This is going to be more faded because it's going to be further back. There might not be much to this composition. I mean, it's not a huge. It's just a corner anyway, so it's not like it has to be ridiculous. But we've done ridiculous at this scale before, so we're just gonna let it do what it does. It's not my job to judge. It's my job to draw. We'll let the muse decide what's good or not. I think this can work. We're just sketching in light details right now for composition, and then we can go back in and work on texture and layering and style. This is a lot of fun. It might not. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't look like a lot to you guys, but I'm really enjoying composing these trees. No, I should leave that. It's a broken little stick there. I want to. Oops. I'm gonna thin this up. Nerf. I said thin, not more lines. Thin it up. Thank you. It still feels too extended, so I'm gonna shorten that branch. Like, there's no way a branch that big could be supported inside this. It's just the swamp, the manifest zone, the fog that fills the manifest zone. It's just it rots material. And we'll do the same thing over here. Let's look at our, yeah. Like that. Just build little rotten little branches, hanging in their pain. Shore that up a little bit, so I'm going to trim this down here a little, then put this in its own little bucket like that. That. Little muck puddle underneath it. Fade that in. I can tear these out. Leave this in the foreground. That'll end up working out okay. Let's move this one over here. Transform. Nice. Yeah, this is going to end up being just a neat little, like we got this little sinkhole thing that's happening here with this tree. I think this is going to end up being a fun little composition. So I'm going to tear this free as its own layer. And then I like these. I'll push these back a little bit if we transform. Shrink them down a smidge. I like these two trees together here. I'm going to separate this from the ground. Let's remove that. Let's take this tree and separate it. Got that, got that, got that, that, and that. Those go next to each other. Yeah, that feels good. So we'll put that and this in the same plane. Merge these down. Now we got this cool little like rock outcrop that's poking out of the ground that we can do to push back the these other trees here. Grab those and raise those up. Knock that down. Hey, what's up? No, I'm up to date. Cool. Here, do some composition in there. And then push this back. Again, we're just looking for basically mood and composition right now. Nope. And once we have this all scratched in the way that we like it, we'll be able to go over each element and start adding some detail texture, cleaning up the line art, making it a little bit more intentional. Meh. Merge down. So we'll get the composition figured out. Maybe we'll start a little bit of detail work, but we'll be working on. It's Friday today, so and I don't stream on the weekend. So however far we get in today's session, we're gonna pause, and we'll pick this up on Monday, and probably, I'm gonna guess, be done with it by maybe Wednesday. This weekend I'm going to work on the other illustration that's for the Atur's Requisitions, Professor Carter and the interns. I'm going to start in on the I'm going to start working on that composition off screen, and once we finish this on stream, maybe we'll be done with this on Wednesday, and if we are, then we'll be able to tap in and start working on the NPCs for this plot hook. But I want to make progress and get all the positioning and the composition built. I suspect I'm going to argue with that composition offline. It's 7:39. I got another 20 minutes. We're doing great here. A little bit thicker. This is going to go off screen. I'm going to actually peel this out. I'm going to grab that as a separate piece, and here's a separate piece. This dross that's kind of like leaves and branch tips are just kind of melting off of the form. Erase that down a little bit. Poor doom trees. Yeah. Cool, I mean, just make these cool little pockets, like these little sinkhole areas here that can fill with fog, and they can have like little fungus, like the stinking cloud, the Vulpina Lotharia, the poison fungus that grows in here. I can have little patches of that, and some nightcaps. So we can mess around here on the ground with all sorts of weird Mabar plant life that we have descriptions for in the adventure. Like there's these black dandelions. They're called florets of Mabar. They're basically like dandelions. When they get hit by wind, they're like little fuzz balls of necrotic plant, and when they get hit with wind, just like dandelions, the little seeds ride the wind, and wherever they land, they start rotting the ground, and then evil fungus will grow in the spots where they land. Hey, what's up, Defected? Trees! Those trees they did have a happy life. They had a very they had a very happy life, yes, until the necromantic ritual started destroying life inside of its space. Yes, I am to blame. I am the composer of this adventure. It is my fault that the trees are dying. Merge that down. I feel like I think this composition will be fine. And create some little ridge work here. These just stacking in these layers here, so there's like little spaces that you can like navigate through. That's a lot of fun. There doesn't have to be a lot of stuff going on in the piece, but you want to have interesting little interactions and things getting bumped into each other, and interesting ways of layering and overlapping stuff with each other. It ends up making for a more interesting composition. There we go. Let's drop that down like that. Obviously, this is going to be covered by the text, but again, we want to overextend the frame so that if we decide to reduce the size or push it around the page a little bit, it's going to have some place to be. I keep pushing over into these other spaces. I need to stop doing that. Like, for real. That's there. That's there. So if I want to add to this one, I need to make sure I'm on the right layer so that when we actually start cleaning up and detailing these, everything will be on the layer that we think it's supposed to be. I don't like how tall and proud that tree is. It's too tall, too proud. You gotta break. There you go. Some dross hanging off of you. So there's 6 plot lines in total. The default plot hook of being deputized and searching for missing people in villages around the Carnwood. That is the default adventure and how the narrative throughout the adventure is framed. Because in that plot, your characters know the least of what's going on. The other 5 alternate plot hooks, your characters know a little bit more going into it. The you know the most in the Council of 12 conspiracy, that gives you the most information about what's actually going on, and you're there to fix it. Atur Academy knows what's going on, but they don't necessarily know who or why. They can guess. And then the gatekeepers and the Church of the Silver Flame, they know something's happening, but they don't know what or why. They just know where, and that it's involving a bar manifest zone that's not supposed to exist, but it does anyway. So it's an affront. So both the Church of the Silver Flame and the gatekeepers want your characters to find the source of the planar disturbance and destroy it with extreme prejudice. So they have a little bit of information. At least they know why they're there, like what's at stake. There's an evil manifest zone that needs to be destroyed. But then, and so that's 4 of the alternate plot hooks, and then plot hook number 5 is almost as ignorant, where people that are missing from the village, your characters know an NPC that lives in those villages and invites you to start basically like homesteading there. It's like, hey, if you want to stop this crazy adventure life and settle down, we're looking for people to farm with us. You want to farm beets? Come hang out with us. We're doing radishes this month, or whatever. So your team decides to go there to lay low, or retire, or whatever trope you want to use. And when you get there, they've been kidnapped. They're some of the people that have gone missing, of course. So now you have to go find your missing family and friends, and hopefully they're still alive when you find them. And spoiler, they can be if you want, or they can die depending on what is best, whatever the DM decides is best for the adventure. But there's all these different, using different factions like that, and having them have different perspectives about what's going on, adds a lot of potential conflicts if players wanted to introduce, like if the DM wanted to introduce alternate anti-hero teams. There's a lot of plot, like there's plots that contrast and clash with each other. Some of the plot hooks work with each other, like they naturally synergize with each other. So after reading the adventure and then reading the alternate plot hooks, the other DMs that play tested this basically use it as a grab bag. Just like, I want to use some of that, I want to use some of that, I want to introduce characters from this, and I'm going to start them here, and let's roll. And then they just started playing out the adventure and letting it do what players like to do best, which is, get involved and fuck shit up. So In that sense, I'd say it's been a pretty successful adventure. Cut. I'm gonna thin this one down a little bit. I'm gonna darken this one up a bit. Merge down. Duplicate. Merge down. What happens if I thin these up a smidge? Let's see. Forest. Let's drop the forest down a bit. I'm going to elongate the whole thing just to stretch it out a bit. Nice. Just grabbing the whole thing and just stretching it a little bit changes the composition. I like being able to do that. That's something I don't always need to do, but when I use it, I certainly enjoy it. Tools in the toolbox, you know? I want to actually drop this one down because I liked the shape of this little space in here. There, and fade that one a bit, and we got room for a couple more sprigs back here. There we go. Hey, that's a nice little foreboding clearing. It obviously it looks like shit because it's just a bunch of scratch marks right now, but that's how the magic happens. So I think what I should do in this instance is start with the closest tree to add the detail, and then that will set the maximum resolution, or the maximum resolution of imagery with this foreground piece. And then as I move further and further back in the composition, I can have less and less detail to the point where it really is just sticks and lines like this, but it's still a really rough form. God, I'm gonna lament having to clip all this. Hold on, I can feel a sadness already. blocking it in real quick just to see how the composition sits in the frame, because we're almost out of time. Yeah, it's 7:47. I'm not going to make much more progress today. There. We have a little buffer. There. Okay. And I really want to have. I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to let's leave it in place for now. I feel like, yeah, I can afford to drop this here. Let's have we put that frame back in place. Like I want to reduce the scale of this because I want more of this foreground tree in place. So I'm going to drop this down. See, this is what I was talking about, being able to overextend the frame of the piece so that I can afford to resize it and still have composition. That feels pretty good. I think I can work inside this space. Open that up like that a little bit. I like this poking up into the frame a little bit. That's fun. Yeah. There we go. Okay, cool. That's going to work. Let's, for now, conceal the text and disable the layer mask so we can see. Here's our actual composition. So this is where we can actually play. I'm going to separate these into folders so I can work on them. All right, so that's where we're at. It is 7:50. I only have just a few minutes left, so I think this is gonna be a cool piece. I think it's gonna have some really good mood to it when we're done. I'm just gonna let this sit for now and just let it rest. We're gonna come back and we're gonna start doing detail again. Like I was saying, the most detail is gonna be in the furthest forward tree, which is this guy here. So when we come back on Monday, we're going to detail this tree and the ground cover here, and then we'll just work our way back the page to further and further back until all we need are a few sticks to indicate presence. And then we have the background fog haze. We'll layer in the ground. We obviously have some rocks here that haven't broken down. We can do some unnatural fungus and moss and stuff that's growing in here to make some interesting light points. And yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. This will be a fun piece. So there's that, and then I'll be working on. Here's the Atur Academy piece that we did. I need to redo the framing for blocking this in with the faded edges. I've got a couple lines worth of extra space here that I can add to concluding the adventure, and I can always add more text to concluding adventures. There's always more I can pontificate about, so that'll be good. But otherwise, this page is good and done. The illustration sits nicely in it. I'm happy with that. And then the front page here that introduces it, I need to think more about how Professor Carter is sitting inside that space. I want to have a library sort of environment around, but he's in a really passive position. His shoulders are down. I mean, he's just basically sitting there. It was just meant to be a bust initially, just to give you a visual for who you're working with. But it's obviously everything evolves, so I now want to make a little library scene out of this. So I might have to have it like his hands or something draping across a book or something. Who knows? And then over here, we've got a list of 6 researchers that have gone missing from Atur Academy, along with the artifact that was stolen. So we want to have illustrations of them, like 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Should be able to fill in the 6 of them, but I need to figure out, like, instead of having a block like this, I might do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then have their name underneath each one of the illustrations. But they're just going to be really simple, not high intense illustrations. They're just going to be roughly simple sketches of who these guys are, because there are artificer alchemists that are running around inside the facility figuring out how to build alchemical resources out of the plants that they're harvesting in the manifest zone. So I'm going to have to restructure this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will probably be a better way to compose this. So I'm going to rebuild this and then figure that out this weekend. So when we finish, the rot forest, we'll then be able to continue working on the front page with the lab techs and Professor Carter. So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to check out. I'm going to work on the Druid Preserver Circle of Preservation from the Dark Sun UA that Wizards put out last week or so. I'll do that in about 8.5 hours, 6.5 hours from now, 2:30 Seattle time, -8 UTC. So 6.5 hours from now, I'll be back on for an hour to start our Friday lunch stream, working on converting the Druid Preserver into the Color Mana paradigm, and we'll be using the Martial Powers Color Mana playtest document to do that. So that's it for now, and I'm going to check out. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I appreciate you. And if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, blah blah blah. I'm here 9 times per week, and I'll be back on Monday. So see you guys then. Cheers.